Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
You may be seated. Thank you, Joe. We wish you the best of luck with your rising career in country music in Nashville, Tennessee. We will be looking forward to the second song for us later in the program. Good morning. Welcome, family, staff, friends, to our 10th annual mid-year Buncombe County Schools graduation ceremony. 10 years ago, we began this practice of graduating mid-year, and we had about 30 graduates. Today, we have 193 graduates. thank you, parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, friends, for all you have done to get these students to their graduation day. Faculty members are here as well. Thank you for supporting these students to graduation. Graduates, please join me in thanking your family, your friends, and your teachers, and your principals, and all of the educators for helping you achieve this goal. Do we have any special guests or board members with us today? If you would please stand. We're glad that those are with us today. Superintendent Tony Baldwin sends his best wishes and congratulations. He is out of town today, but is thinking of us. And thank you, Mr. Philip Hayden, for our pianist from Reynolds High School. We are here today to honor you, and we have a special ceremony planned. So at this time, would everyone check their electronic devices and make sure they're turned off? Graduates, I challenge you with one last task from Buncombe County Schools. And no, it's not the Tammy Watford Never Stop Learning. I challenge you to never stop learning. Whether you are going into the workforce, the military, attending college, Nashville, Tennessee, please continue learning something new each and every day. We're very proud of you, and we're here to celebrate this big accomplishment on your journey. We have a special speaker today. Dr. Robbie Adell is our current Assistant Superintendent of Buncombe County Schools. He has served in our school system as a teacher for 13 years, an administrator for 17, both at middle school and high school, and now he's a partner with me at central office. In 2011, he earned his doctorate in educational leadership. He is married, has 2 beautiful daughters, and a boxer named Bear. So there's a bear side of your house often. In addition to his excellent leadership skills, he has the best sense of humor. I know you will hear some of that in his comments. So at this time, please help me welcome Dr. Robbie Adell to the podium.
It is not often that I have the opportunity to speak to a room full of happy people. And I am tickled to death to be here. Thank you for the kind introduction, and thank you for inviting me to speak today. I'm pleased to be here and to join you in celebrating this wonderful occasion. First of all, congratulations to you all. You should be very proud of yourselves for accomplishing this goal. I know you must all be excited to get your hands on your diplomas and run out into the world. But as cartoonist Gary True said, commencement speeches were largely invented in the belief that outgoing high school students should never be released into the world until they have been properly sedated. And that is where I come in as your speaker today. I'll try my best not to put you to sleep. It's a common practice that when one graduates, they spend a little time reflecting back on experiences that they had while in school. It reminds me of a story told by a friend who was a kindergarten teacher. It was her birthday, and her students decided that they would each buy her a gift. The first student, whose parent owns a florist, gave her a present. The teacher held it and said, "I think it's flowers." And the little boy said, "How did you guess that?" She just laughed and thanked him. The second student, whose parent owned a candy store, gave her a present. She got the present, she held it, she says, "I think it's candy." And the little boy laughed and said, "How did you know?" And she said, "Thank you so much." The third student, whose parents owned a bottle store, gave her a box which was leaking. She touched the liquid with her finger and then tasted it and said, Is it wine, she said. No, said the little girl. So she tasted it again. Is it champagne? She asked. No, said the little girl, it's a puppy. Be careful of those leaking boxes. To the families of those graduating, congratulations to you. You should know that your support through this process made an enormous impact. I'm sure you're proud of your graduates as they close this portion of their lives and prepare for the next steps in life. Graduation is one of those steps in life that defines the coming of age, the ending of one era in life and the beginning of another. I'm sure many of you have firm plans and have a good idea of what's coming next. Some of you have a pretty good idea of what's coming next, and then there are others that are just amazed that you've made it to this point. Well, I can tell you that the coming times will be exciting. They will be trying, but they will all be dependent upon you and your determination. My focus today as your guest speaker is to give you 4 things to think about as you take that journey we call life. Number 1, success is measured by one's happiness. It has been more than 30 years since I graduated high school. I can't believe I told you that. And things have changed a bit since then. When I graduated from high school, the popular shows on TV were Three's Company, MASH, Alice, The Jeffersons, The Dukes of Hazzard County. Now I know I'm not the only one in this room that remembers those. Yes. The top movies at the theater were Empire Strikes Back, 9 to 5, and Stir Crazy. The radio was playing Call Me by Blondie. It's Still Rock and Roll to Me by Billy Joel. And Ride the Wind by my boy, Christopher Cross. In the news, Ronald Reagan was elected as President of the United States. There was a hostage crisis in Iraq, and Voyager 1 sent us close-up pictures of Saturn. I had big plans for myself after graduation. I was going to be single forever. I was never going to have kids. I was going to make $6, $7, $8 million, travel the world. I was going to wear my hair very long. I was going to live in a very large estate, not house, an estate. And I was also planning on playing quarterback for the Raiders. As you can see, I was planning to kind of take it easy, not to work too hard, and really enjoy life. And here I find myself at graduation once again, but a number of years later, my life didn't turn out quite the way I planned. For instance, I've been married for 20 years. I have 2 kids, and as you know, a dog named Bear. I'm far from a millionaire, and I don't play football. I watch it on TV. And though life didn't turn out the way I thought it would, I don't regret a bit of it. I haven't failed. I've adapted. I have found what makes me happy, and so will you. Number 2, embrace challenges. Dr. Martin Luther King once said, "The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy." Life doesn't usually follow the path you lay out for yourselves. You will experience highs and lows of life, the difficult and the easy. Your true success will be defined by how you handle both of these times. As you graduate and take on new challenges, chances are you're not going to make $1 million at your first job. In fact, you may not get the first, second, or even third job that you interview for. You may never become a CEO of a Fortune 500 company in your entire life, but that's okay. The important thing is that you have already taken the initial steps needed to build a more promising future. Every class that you've taken, every lab, every essay that you've written, have all been preparing you to adapt to change and challenges. But as you know, it's a tough world out there. Nothing will be handed to you. You have to earn it. And it will mean more to you because you will earn it. And it reminds me of a story I'm going to tell you. This past fall at Duke University, there were two sophomores that were taking organic chemistry who did really well during the course. In fact, they were going into the final exams both with strong A's. And they were so confident that the weekend before finals, even though the chemistry exam was on Monday, they decided to go up to the University of Virginia to a party. Wouldn't you know it? With some friends. So they did this and they had a great time. However, they ended up staying longer than planned. They didn't make it back to Duke until early Monday morning. Rather than taking the final then, they found their professor after the final had been given out and explained to him why they missed it. They told him that they went up to Virginia for the weekend and had planned to come back in time to study. But they had a flat tire on the way back home and didn't have a spare and couldn't get help for a long period of time. So they were late getting back to campus. The professor thought this over a bit, and he agreed that he would give them an opportunity to make up the final exam the following day. Well, the two guys were elated, and they were relieved. So they went home, and they studied all night. They went in the very next day at the time that the professor told them to be there. He placed them in separate rooms, handed each of them a test booklet, and told them to begin. They looked at the first problem, which was something simple about radical formation, and it was worth 5 points, and they were just over the moon. They thought this is going to be the easiest test that we've ever taken. Thank God this is going to be easy. They were not prepared for the second page. So they turned to second page going to the second problem. And what they saw was, it said, worth 95 points. Which tire? Think about that. They were in separate rooms. They're still sophomores at Duke. And probably will be next year as well. Number 3, never forget where you came from. Do not deny yourself of who you are and the people and places that help mold you into the person you are today. Do not forget your roots. Do not let the next new shiny thing make you forget the vintage memories of your life. Wherever you may find yourself, graduates, and whatever challenge you choose to follow and explore, hold true to what shaped your yesteryears. Acknowledge and appreciate what you are today and dare to be all that you can be tomorrow. Ralph Emerson once said, "Do not follow where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail." Before I give you the fourth and last thing to think about, I would like to tell you a story of a young man named Wayne who grew up in the Pacific Northwest. And this story did take place some time ago. And I will tell it as Wayne told it. When I was a young boy, my father had one of the first telephones in our neighborhood. I remember the polished oak case fastened to the wall. The shiny receiver hung on the side of the box. I was too little to reach the phone, but used to listen with fascination when my mother talked to it. Then I discovered that somewhere inside that wonderful device lived an amazing person. Her name was Information Please. And there was I hope you all caught that. I'm turning pages. Information Please. And there was nothing that she did not know. Information could supply anyone a correct phone number and the correct time in an instant. My personal experience with the genie in the bottle came one day while my mother was visiting a neighbor. Amusing myself at the tool bench in the basement, I whacked my finger with the hammer. The pain was terrible, but there seemed no point in crying because there was no one home to give me sympathy. I walked around the house sucking my throbbing finger, finally arriving at the stairway where I saw the phone. Quickly, I ran for the footstool and dragged it to the landing. Climbing up, I unhooked the receiver and held it to my ear. "Information, please," I said into the mouthpiece just above my head. A click or two and a small, clear voice came into my ear. "Information." "I hurt my finger," I yelled into the phone. The tears came readily enough now because I did have an audience. "Isn't your mother home?" came the question. "Nobody's home but me," I bluttered. "Are you bleeding?" the voice asked. "No," I replied. "I hit my finger with the hammer and it hurts." "Can you open the ice box?" she asked. I said I could. "Then chip off a little bit of ice and hold it on your finger," said the voice. After that, I called information please for everything. I asked her for help with my geography. She told me where Philadelphia was. She helped me with my math. She told me that my pet chipmunk that I caught in the park just the day before would eat fruits and nuts. Then there was the time Petey, our pet canary, died. I called information please and I told her the sad story. She listened and said things grown-ups say to soothe children, but I was not consoled. I asked her, why is it that birds that could sing so beautifully and bring so much joy to so many people end up as a heap of feathers on the bottom of a cage? She must have sensed my deep concern, for she said quietly, "Wayne, always remember that there are other worlds to sing in." Somehow I felt better. Another day I was on the phone. "Information, please." "Information," said in the now familiar voice. "How do I spell fix?" I asked. All of this took place in a small town in the Pacific Northwest. When I was 9 years old, we moved across the country to Boston. I miss my friend very much. Information, please, belonged in an old wooden box back home, and somehow never thought of trying the new shiny phone that was sitting on the table in the hall. As I grew into my teens, the memories of those childhood conversations never left me. Often, in times of doubt and perplexity, I would recall the serene sense of security I had then. I appreciated how patient, understanding, and kind she was to have spent her time with a little boy. A few years later, on my way west to college, my plane landed in Seattle. I had about a half hour or so between flights. I spent 15 minutes on the phone with my sister, who lives there now. Then, without thinking what I was doing, I dialed my hometown operator and said, "Information, please." Miraculously, I heard the small, clear voice I knew so well, "Information." I hadn't planned this, but I heard myself saying, "Could you please tell me how to spell fix?" There was a long pause. Then came the soft-spoken answer, "I guess your finger must have healed by now." I laughed. "So it's really you," I said. "I wonder if you had any idea how much you meant to me during that time." "I wonder," she said, "if you knew how much your calls meant to me. I never had any children, and I look forward to your calls." I told her how often I thought of her over the years, and I asked if I could call her again when I came back to visit my sister. "Please do," she said. "Just ask for Sally." 3 months later, I was back in Seattle. A different voice answered, "Information." I asked for Sally. "Are you my friend?" she said. She said, no. Are you looking for Sally? I said, yes, I'm an old friend. She said, I'm sorry to have tell you this. Sally had been working part-time the last few years because she was sick. She died 5 weeks ago. Before I could hang up, she said, wait a minute. Did you say your name was Wayne? Yes, I answered. Well, Sally left a message for you. She wrote it down in case you called. Let me read it to you. The note said, tell him there are other worlds to sing in. He will know what I mean. I hung up and I knew exactly what Sally meant. So number 4, graduates, never underestimate the impression you have on people in your day-to-day life. Always be your best. You have taken steps towards success in future and also the betterment of your family and your community. You've worked hard, spending months learning new skill sets. Our complex and technical world today requires education and skills that were not needed in the past. Ultimately, your well-educated generation will benefit us all in the future. You're now armed with one of the most important tools needed to forge your path ahead. It's not the diploma itself that counts. It's about what you learned along the way and what you do with the education you've gotten in your journey to this graduation day. Your future is in your hands, no one else's. Seize this opportunity. The best of luck to you all.
How's everybody doing? I'd like to bring up my friends and band. This is Miss Andlin Lewis. She's a sophomore at Inca High School. This right here is Mr. Zach Haney. He's a graduate of Pisgah High School. I'd like to dedicate this song to the class of 2015 and all the students out there who have dared to be different. And when in reality, we're all perfect in our Maker's eyes. Jimmy gets up early and he goes to work. He spends his day out on the street spreading the word. And talk to you no matter what you look like, 'cause he believes that everyone should see the light. That's what I love about the world we live in. Everybody's different, no one fits in. It doesn't matter where you're from or what you look like, 'cause we're all perfect in our Maker's eye. In our Maker's eye. Tasha dyes her hair a different color each week. With knee-high boots up over her jeans. Students give a look, she don't care what they think. She just smiles and says, hey, that's me. That's what I love about the world we live in. Everybody's different, no one fits in. It doesn't matter where you're from or what you look like, 'cause we're all perfect in our Maker's eye. In our Maker's eye. How's that? Tommy got the bad news early last week. The doctor said it's not up to me. Tommy fell down and started praying on his knees. 1 year later, Tommy's cancer free. That's what I love about the world we live in. Everybody's different, no one fits in. It doesn't matter where you're from or what you look like, 'cause we're all perfect in our Maker's eyes. That's what I love about the world we live in. Everybody's different, no one fits in. It doesn't matter where you're from or what you look like, 'cause we're all perfect in our Maker's eyes. Eyes, 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 in our Maker's eyes. Eyes, 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 in our Maker's eyes. Eyes, eyes, in our Maker's eyes. Eyes, eyes, eyes.
Thank you, Joe. Fabulous. And now we're ready to begin with AC Reynolds High School.
Will the graduates of AC Reynolds High School please come forward? As each graduate is recognized, I would invite their families to stand. Megan Elizabeth Anderson with honors. Abigail Elizabeth Becker with high honors. Brooke Jordan Brewer with honors. Joseph Bradley Cantrell, in absentia. Dion Christopher Klontz. Casey Jordan Dinalden with highest honors and NC Scholar. Terry Michael Diabatis, in absentia. Courtney Ray Diaz. Jared Clay Dillon. Cherry Lachey Robbie Joe Dotson Jr. David Michael Feuerbach. Cynthia Iridania Gonzalez. Nathaniel Benjamin Paul Gott. Walden Anderson Cameron with honors. Emma Isabel Heisey with high honors and NC Scholar. Zoe Constantina Lewis with high honors. Ryan Christopher McCabe with honors. Ricardo Alexander Mendez. Tara Michelle Neff with honors. Hannah Rose Peterson. Ethan Thomas Raines, in absentia. Eric Stone Smith. Hannah Karen Stewart. Patrick Riley Sullivan with honors and NC Scholar. Mariah Ann Thompson. Zachary Michael Vignali. Please join me in a round of applause for the graduates of AC Reynolds High School. Will the graduate of early college please come forward? Colton Lee Fisher. As each graduate is recognized, I would invite your family to stand. Shelby Ruth Ballard. Kevin Matthew Burke. Hampton Sophia Carter with honors in absentia. Cassie Elizabeth Connor. Clarice Virginia Edens with honors. Jordan Marcia Engel with honors. Taylor Marie Irwin with honors. Ariana Bella Garasio. Marcus Huckleberry Israel. Michael Dalton Jackson. Zoe Alexandria Lambert. Ryan Kirk Llewellyn with high honors. Mark David Madden. Savannah Mariah Maddox. Caitlin Pope McAfee. Jalecia Mariah McClain. Meredith Nicole Mellon. Grace Kelly Mills. Aaron Arnell Myrick. Liam Joseph Ogden. Daniel Ostakovich. Justin Christopher Parker. Sophia and Brianna Nicole Patterson. Joshua Caleb Pounders. Austin Tyler Reed. Brittany Nicole Roberts. Taylor Sinclair Rowe. Shanna Rose Sheila. Jacquees Roman Tyler Joseph Smith. Please join me in a round of applause for the graduates.
Will the graduates from Charles D. Owen High School please come forward? As each graduate is recognized, I will invite their family to stand. Michaela Ann Atwood with honors in absentia. Eve Virginia Brinkley with honors in absentia. Ava Maria Cortez Bataglia. Darius Andre Davidson. David Austin Usurpo. Justin Mark Fox. Alejandra Anaki Gonzalez Contreras. Kayla Marie Hudson. Isaiah Howard Majewski with honors, NC Scholar. Kennedy Navy Ormer. Rose Ortiz. Kelsey Nicole Thomas. Terry Ann Thomas. Please join me in a round of applause for the graduates of
Shayna Nicole Robinson.
Maria Mayela Casas Rodriguez. Koyami Ruiz Miguel. Orlando Salazar Espinoza. Patricia Ann Scarberry. Jonathan Josue Sevilla. Vladislav Sirik in-absentia. Savannah Elaine Smith. Brian Edward Todd. Summer Rochelle Wallace. Sammy Jo Ford. Lily Ann Wood, High Honors, Nancy Scott. Please join me in a round of applause for the graduates.
Will the graduates of Community High School please come forward? As each graduate is recognized, I will invite their family to stand. Tabitha Lorraine Banks. Dustin Lee Beck. Steve Dalton Burrell. Darth Dakota Burris. Deonta Javon Bird. William Taylor Clark. Lisa Lee Cole. Osvaldo de la Paz in-absentia. Natalia Aliyah Fadul in-absentia. Dakota William Fowler. Dylan Case Freeman. Christian Lance Griffin. Julia Caitlin Jarvis. James Brian Jones. Taylor Leslie Kidd. Dixie May Land. Bethany Ann Lingerfeld. Luis Ruben Maldonado. Shaquasia Felice Patton. Danny Fernando Pineda. Joshua Landon Ramsey. Jesse Alexander Raven. Colton Zachary Shaw. Horace Irvin Smith. Kayla Brittany Smith. Caitlin Marlene Staley. Lauren Ashley Ashley West. Julia Lee Wolfe. Please join me in a round of applause for the graduates. Graduates of Buncombe High School, please come forward. As each graduate is recognized, I would invite your family to stand. Luba Benega. Haley Morgan Emery with honors. Chase Edward Garrell. Rodney Tyler Grant with high honors. Caitlin Nicole Gunter. Anna Marie Mathis. Jessica Renee Pinero. Savannah Denon Reinhardt in absentia. Mackenzie Taylor Rice with high honors in absentia. Caitlin Cheyenne Shipper. Archie Dylan Sims. Samantha Ann Snow. August Haile Springelmeyer.
Yeah, August! Woo! I got you, bro!
Tahana. Asia Elmira Thomas. Hannah Patricia Trexler. Kaylee Brooke Whitted. Ladies and gentlemen, the graduates from Buncombe High School.
Brooke Alicia Allen. Sarah Ann Blue. Adam Michael Coe, graduating with high honors, NC Scholar. Nathan Mackenzie Dillingham. Shayla Michelle Fenelon. Simon Parker Fonderman. Caitlin Paul. Robertson High School, please come forward. As each graduate is recognized, I invite your family to stand. Jeffrey Scott Barfield Jr., graduating from Nancy Scholar. Kayla Michelle Blair. William Paul Foreman. Sierra Michelle Duffy. Brittany Lane Harwell, graduating with honors. Timothy Jerome Hunter. Catherine Harriet Jennings, the North Carolina Scholar, graduating with high honors in absentia. Jesse James Johnson. Jessica Tate Jones. Alexander Charles Lewis, graduating with honors in absentia. Anna Elizabeth Teal, a North Carolina Scholar, graduating with high honors. Emily Christine Waddell. Marie Wright. Samantha Lauren Youngblood. Please join me in a round of applause for the graduates of TC College.
Graduates, please stand. At this time, move your tassel from right to left. Audience, it is my pleasure to present to you the candidates for mid-year graduation from Buncombe County Schools. By the Buncombe County Board of Education, I now pronounce you graduates of Buncombe County Schools. Congratulations to each of you. Parents, please remain in the auditorium until all graduates have exited.